How are we doing, guys? Leeds United 0, Chelsea 0. Post-match reaction. We've got the legends on board here. We've got Chris Kelly, we've got Rhiannon, we've got Phil, and we've got Mr. Wayman. I guess, guys, I'll go to... Wow, what a game of football, what a game of football. Chris, let's get some initial thoughts from you. What do you think we deserved it? Deserved something from the game?
Absolutely, mate. Do you know what? I think the overwhelming emotion for me today is just really proud of them all. All of them. I thought they were solid. They grafted. They didn't give Chelsea much room at all. Chelsea created a few chances, but so did we. A well-deserved point. I think either team wins that, you're probably saying, "Oh, they sneaked it or we sneaked it." I think it was a draw. I think it's a deserved draw.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could, if you're being uber critical, you could say that Chelsea had a lot of the ball, which they did, but I don't think they really did much with it, to be fair, Phil. A couple of chances first, start of the second half, and maybe one for Havertz, but I can't think of much else.
No, similar to Chris, I just thought fantastic collective effort from everybody today. I wouldn't want to single anybody out as being good or bad, ideally. I just want to say all of them, to a man, did what they needed to do. They played well as a team. And, I heard a lot of, I was watching on BT, I don't know how about you guys, but I heard a lot about Chelsea. This is their 4th clean sheet in a row. And I was just screaming at my telly, like, this is a clean sheet for Leeds against a top 6 club. Like, can we give that some airtime? Like, fair play to them. Cooper, our captain, big centre-back, injured, last minute. Stroik comes in. Apparently he's injured as well. And we keep a clean sheet against a very, very expensively assembled team. So I'm very happy with the point, extremely happy.
Look at who came off the bench. Werner, Hudson-Odoi, good players, good footballers who came on, and we just didn't give them anything. I thought when they came on, I thought 0-0. Oh, you can see this being a 1-0 Chelsea in the last minute kind of thing, but we just held. We never lost the belief.
I thought we could have nicked it. I did have a few moments where I was off my seat thinking, "Come on, we can get it."
Mendy's made some great saves today. Yeah. That one off Roberts, that one where he's going the other way and he just stops it off Rafid. Was it Rafid? Yeah, it was Rafid. Yeah, that little cushion header off Rodrigo. I mean, Rhiannon. There was on the watch along. There was so much like, "Ooh, ah." Oh, yes, no, it was like that for all of us. Were like that for like 90 minutes. It was
like at the game. I was like, I can't sit still. Like, especially when we got them like 3 corners in a row. I was just like, oh my god, we could nick it here. I was like, I can't sit still. I need to pace around the room or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was brilliant. I agree with Phil. Like, I feel like we could have nicked it then, or if that ball hadn't clipped the back of Tyler's leg and it was through on goal, I thought that could have been a great opportunity. I think we did well defensively. I think we restricted Chelsea, and yeah, like I say, I could only remember maybe a couple of chances in the first half and maybe one in the second. And I think we did really well to contain it. And I'm so happy with the point. So happy with the point. I'm just glad we got something out of the game because we deserve to get something out of. Because so far, throughout the second half of the season, we've deserved something and we've come away with nothing. And it's been so soul-destroying sometimes. Like, especially like the Wolves game, where it's just bad luck and you just end up kicking yourself. And yeah, it's just great to get a point, especially against a top 4 team.
Yeah, totally. Just a quick shout out for Samuel there. Top class donation. That. Thank you very much, mate. I think that's pretty much what we said, isn't it? That they created a fair few, but we just dealt with everything. I mean, Wayman, I've got to say, Llorente, Struik, I think Roberts got man of the match. And we kind of said off air, I'll be honest, I thought one of those two were the best players on the pitch. Yeah. I thought that defensively, it was one of our best defensive displays of the season, to be honest. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was up there. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can hear you fine, mate.
Oh, good. Been having some issues with this bloody Wi-Fi for some reason, so apologies I had to dip out. But yeah, mate, I was, like Rhiannon's just said, and I don't know what the others have said before me, I think it was
I think he's gone.
I think you dropped out, mate.
Have I gone?
No, it's all right. You're back. You're back. You're back.
You're back.
You're back in the room.
Honestly, man.
3, 2, 1. You're back in the room.
Guys, I'm going to jump out because it's doing my tits in this. I'll sort it out and I'll come back on, right? I'll let you chew the fat. I'll be as quick as I can, all right?
No worries, man.
No
No worries
worries.
at all. But yeah, I mean, look, Llorente for me in terms of in the air, I thought he was so much more aggressive. He won his headers. I thought arguably you could say he was probably one of our best players on the day. I mean, how impressed were you by the centre backs, Phil?
Yeah, I thought both of them were fantastic. I think Calvin being back in Calvin's role, and I saw a lot of times where we predicted last night of the best way to attack our centre backs is to drag Calvin out into your half, and then you're free to go. And I didn't think they did that too much. I saw a lot of Calvin pressing high and going, and I thought Calvin was really good today. And then obviously I thought the solidity that he gave to the two behind him was really good as well. And Meslier didn't have too much to do, and the stuff that he did fantastically. So I thought that little diamond of goalkeeper, CDM, and the two centre backs, I think that was probably key to us keeping that clean sheet.
I think any team needs that, don't they? A good goalkeeper, centre back. Look at Man City. You got. I know it's a different kind of class. Ederson, Diaz, Stones, Rodri, etc. You need reliability in that area. To keep clean sheets, that's got to be solid. That part of the pitch. You've got to have that solidity
centre back, Oscar?
Look, Llorente. What I will say, I'd be interested to see what Chris thinks about this. I sort of said this on the watch along to Rhiannon. I thought Llorente probably saw the presence of Koch there. That sounded horrific out of context. I didn't the presence of Koch. Just when I said that, I thought that sounds like a different kind of video now. Anyway. Listen, I'm having a Hal Stewart moment last night. Right. Anyway, he saw Robin there. He saw the presence of Robin there. And I just think that kind of G'd him up a little bit. And I think Struijk, I think we've spoken before, Chris, about the centre backs. Okay, Cooper, Llorente looks good on paper, but I thought Llorente, Struijk looks a lot more natural. I think they both suit each other's games. And what do you feel to that, mate? Not singling Cooper out at all. I just thought it looked a bit more natural in terms of those two together.
As we've spoken about in the last few games, I think most of us have said Cooper's been pretty solid. But can't knock Pascal and Llorente today. I thought they were absolutely superb. Pascal looked every bit a top quality Premier League centre back today. He really did. For a kid who is 21, Pascal.
Yeah, I think so. He's 21, isn't he?
Yeah, the trajectory this kid's on, improvement-wise, performance-wise, is unreal. What a player we have got there. And there's a shout for if Coops is just carrying a minor knock, does he come back in? Probably not after that. Well, it won't for me. Just because, and that's not anything against Coops. That's Llorente and Struijk being superb, and Koch and Coops find themselves sat on the bench.
Well, we've got Joe Wayman back, and just before, as Joe Wayman comes in, I'm just going to read him a comment here that's going to make him smile. Luis Favre has just compared Alioski to Gattuso, and I love that, to be fair. Both are team players. Alioski is made for Leeds United. I absolutely love it. I don't know who's took over Luis's YouTube account here. I don't know if Joe Wayman's hacked it or something, or someone's hacked it. But yeah, fair play. Alioski today, mate. Solid. And there's been criticism for him in the watch along. I thought he was solid. Okay, last sort of 10 minutes or so, he got a little bit emotional. But I thought he was sound today, to be honest.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I've had to shut down the laptop, put it back on, and it's working now. It won't let me in for some reason. But I was really surprised that any of them were getting stick. I've seen someone mention about Calvin playing too deep and Alioski not being great and he needs to come off and all this. And I just didn't get it. I thought for me as a collective today, the team defended absolutely brilliantly. And, so many teams, opposing fans, say that Leeds can't defend. Well, there's your answer, because I thought we defended resolutely today. I don't think Chelsea had anything amazing apart from them few little halfy chances that sort of fell our way a little bit, but we had them as well. It was a bit huff and puff from both sides. Meslier and Mendy both made key saves at decent times. There's the Rodrigo header. I think the thing is, you probably already touched on it. There was a few times, I know Tyler got man of the match, but there was a few times where his touch let him down, whereas if his touch is better, he's in on goal, But I can't fault any of them today. Look, yeah, I will say this, Mitchell. So I think Rafinha's been a bit off it for about 3 games now, if I'm being totally honest. I don't think he was great against Villa, neither against West Ham. And today, again, there was a few times where his touch let him down and things that really seem to be working for him. You guys might disagree. It's just my opinion on what I see. But overall, mate, I'm absolutely buzzing with a 0-0 draw. Like, that's not something we're used to under Bielsa, but I'm absolutely buzzing. And it really gives us a boost going into Fulham and Sheffield United. And then we've got some rock hard games coming up. But
they're easy, mate. We've
but this is what we're here for.
0-0 in all of them now, Joe.
Hey?
0-0 in them all now.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's great, wasn't it? It was great.
Easy.
It was great.
And it's but I actually thought Rafinha was okay first half. I don't think he was. I think second half as the game kind of wore right, went to the left wing. I didn't think he was as good on the left. I don't think he really got much joy on that. When James came on as well, I think he didn't really get much joy on there. But I mean, I would agree with Joe though. I think in general Rafinha's levels dropped a little bit last couple of weeks. Chris, I'd be interested to see what you think about that. Not massively. He's still our best player for me, but it's dropped. It has dropped a little bit. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not invincible at the minute.
No, the difference today is, mate, from the other games where he's not been at the peak Rafinha levels, his other players turned up today.
Yeah.
So, which is what we spoke about the other day. If Rafinha's having a not great game, or they're marking him out the game, then we need others to step up, and others stepped up today, which is why we've walked out of this with a really positive 0-0, I think is the best way we can put it. But yeah, he's been a bit off it, but I'll take a bit off it, Rafinha, to be honest with you, because we know next game he'll have an absolute worldie and just make Fulham look like complete mugs. So yeah, it is what it is.
No, exactly. I mean, would you agree with that, Rhiannon? We think we still all love Rafinha, but I think the only thing I'd say is Rafinha's levels dropped a little bit, but I still think we've been playing well despite that, and it shows we're not reliant on him, which is it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially when Rafinha has been on fire, it did feel like some of our players, especially like Bamford, were like over reliant on Rafinha, and it seemed like Rafinha was like carrying the team. So it's nice that we've got ourselves back on like an equal level, and we're playing as a collective again, and that we're not over reliant on Rafinha. Yeah, he still has his flair and his tricks, and yeah, I've got to agree with you though, Oscar. Like the first half, I thought he was fine. Like
I thought Chilwell had no control of him.
Exactly, his usual self. And I always feel he dips off when he switches onto the left. Like the right side is his favourite side. I don't know if that's because he favours his right foot. I don't know, but but I also find that his relationship with Ayling when playing works really well, and they like link up and they like overlap. It's like him and Bamford. They seem to be on like a different wavelength. It's almost like they can literally know what like each one of them are thinking, and can sort of know what move they're going to make next without actually being told the next move. But yeah, it was just an all over impressive game. And yeah, second half, Rafinha did drop off, and he has been a bit over the last couple of games. But I'm sure next game he'll probably score an amazing goal against Fulham.
Exactly.
I'm not quite sure what Mendy's on about in the chat, saying he was poor, didn't create a single chance.
Yeah,
that's a great save from Mendy. He scored.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a I'm not sure about that, but it is all part of the game for Rafinha. You know, he's all part of the game. He's keeping it on the low key at the minute, keeping it on the low key. You know, staying at the club, getting through the summer, and then staying, and then he'll explode again in August. We all know the game. But
it was nice to see Ayling back to his best. I thought Ayling was great. I thought he had a tough task today up against Mason Mount. Mason Mount was substituted. Do you know what I mean? And he's been Chelsea's best player this season.
Always scores against us as well.
Yeah, he's a great player, and I thought Ayling kept him quiet. He put himself about. He went forward, not as much as I'd like him to. But that's more we were playing Chelsea and we struggled to create a bundle of chances. But know that against, Fulham, Sheffield United, it's going to be a totally different kettle of fish. I think we have to remember that Chelsea are as good as they are. I mean, the lineup, man, Mount, Pulisic, Havertz, and when they're bringing off Werner, Hudson-Odoi, and we're bringing on Costa. I mean, I thought it was the wrong sub. I was worried that Costa was going to give away a silly free kick, man. But yeah, I'm just proper infused at a 0-0 draw. Like, Bielsa very rarely gets 0-0, does he? But it's proper give me a boost of confidence. It's stopped that rut that we were in, because we were in a bit of a rut, and it's give us confidence going into the next two now. It's really buoyed me up anyway, because had we lost today, I'd have been, look, I'm not concerned about any sort of relegation or like that, but I still think Fulham will be tough. We'll create a lot more than we do against Chelsea, but I was concerned that, oh God, if we lost to Chelsea and got beat well, I think the key thing is at 70 minutes, like Rhiannon said as I jumped on earlier, just don't concede, man. See the game out, and this is what we haven't been able to do previously, It's a 0-0, man, against a great, that probably will end up second, the way they're going. They're undefeated in 12, I think, in all competitions, and they look good. They do look good, it has to be said. And they'll just get better and better under Tuchel, so I think it's a fantastic point.
I think it's almost like in this game today that we saw what Chelsea have done last couple of weeks instead of since Tuchel's took charge. Obviously, they like to keep the ball well. It's like we almost accepted today that, we're not going to have a lot of the ball today. We're going to have to be organised. And I thought we did that superbly well. In terms of our pressing, we were concerned going into it in terms of the two free number 10s. Who's going to pick them up? But it's almost like, I don't think there was as much man-to-man marking today. I thought it was almost a case of, if someone dribbled past another player, it was a case of, right, you go over to him. You saw a couple of times KP might have been out of position. Not often, but when he was out of position, Ayling came across or Llorente came across. It was a lot more... It felt like it was down to the players today to make the right decisions. It wasn't so much Bielsa had them a bit less structured in that. I think that's part of Bielsa's adaptation. Obviously we're seeing, I think we're improving in the big games. We look at the Leicester game, the Everton game, we could have got something out of that. I think we're definitely improving. The Arsenal game, to be fair, if we got it back to 4-3 with that penalty appeal, that could have been 4-4. I think we're improving overall. We're not getting battered by these teams anymore. We're showing that adaptation. And today, I just thought it summed it up in terms of, I think everyone was worried about having two number 10s, KP, having two men to mark and all this lot. But I just thought as a team, everyone read the game well. There's communication. And that's what's really pleasing. We're not really seeing that a lot. It's not something you associate that kind of performance under Marcelo Bielsa in terms of we were so stubborn and out of possession. And it was more on the counter today than anything. We didn't really have a lot of the ball. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine. We're showing a different side to our game. But Phil, I'll talk to you a little bit more, mate. I've got to say, I mean, Roberts, we've got to talk about Roberts a little bit.
Yeah.
Could have scored in that first sort of 10 minutes. Stunning effort. What a save it was off Mendy. If we're talking about his performance against West Ham, his performance today, I've not seen recently, certainly not recently, from one game to another, a player improve just so drastically. Yeah. It was like he was drunk against West Ham, to be honest. It was like he was drunk against West Ham, and when we saw the real Tyler Roberts today, I mean, but what's your feeling on Tyler Roberts?
It was a drastic improvement from West Ham. I still wouldn't have gone as far as BT did to call him man of the match. I still think there is issues with his first touch, and with a better first touch, we would have had a few more chances and possibly could have gone on and won the game. I think he did fantastic in the areas that, I'm sure we're going to come on to Rodrigo later, getting hooked after being brought on. Don't think it was injury related. I think it was performance related. There was a lot of walking. When it came to the actual collective effort and getting involved with the press, I thought Tyler was far more effective than Rodrigo. I thought his passing, his interlink play was really good. He had that one effort which came off the bar. We had it only a couple of weeks ago where that goes in off Melier's head if that's against us. So on another day, if he'd have scored or got an assist, I probably would have given him man of the match, but he's not man of the match for me. I thought he did a lot better than he did against West Ham, but I'm praising the collective and, his performance is part of that. You've got to wait for the ratings show.
We've got to wait for the player ratings. 5 o'clock, we're doing player ratings. We're spreading it out a little bit more today because we've got a nice kick-off. We're not going into 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to lie, Phil. You did get on my nerves a bit when you started giving half marks at 1 in the morning. I was thinking, honestly, if he gives another half mark here, he's getting kicked. He's getting kicked out of the
like that. I just want to go to bed.
Right, anyway. I mean, you sort of said it off air, Chris. It's all well and good Roberts doing this today. He's got to then do this against Fulham. He's then got to do this against Paul Heckingbottom, Sheffield United. He's then got to do this in the other games. Whoever it is we're up against, he's got to maintain it, hasn't he? We all know Roberts has got that West Brom 2 years ago performance in him, and he showed that today. Got to maintain it, hasn't he?
100%, mate, and that's what we've been saying in it. When we've been rinsing him a bit the last few weeks, I've said the problem is with a player like Tyler. He has one good game in 10 or 15. He needs to kick on now and have 3, 4, 5 good get that level today, which then gives him a run in the team where maybe that third touch does improve and he does get his goal, and then the confidence soars. But hopefully he's done enough today, obviously, to start against Fulham, and fingers crossed he has another decent game because a good Tyler Roberts, we'll all take him still. As much as we've rinsed him at times, there's a player in there. We can see it.
There was something that was, I think, Phil, you mentioned it before about Rodrigo coming off first. Yeah. That's a difference in Roberts. I mean, throughout the season, that had been Roberts coming off at that point. The fact is that Bielsa seemed to really trust him today. I just thought, in terms of what he showed, there's one time when he put Mount on his backside, on the halfway line, you're thinking, that's confidence. There seems to be this, feels like Bielsa's almost maybe had a bit of a word of him and just given this massive G up and said, I'm not going to drop you, you're going to keep your place in that team. Because if I'm Tyler Roberts, after he comes off at half-time, Rhiannon, against West Ham, and he's been terrible, let's be honest, he's been absolutely terrible. The team improves after him and Click come off. You're kind of thinking, that might be my chance done. And I just think that the fact he was given that place in the team again, kind of a bit like Juventus to an extent, gave him that little bit of an oomph kind of thing. And he just showed everything, didn't he, today?
Yeah, I mean, I thought with him being subbed off at half-time against West Ham, I thought, his confidence is going to drop. And I just thought, that's why my head dropped because I saw him in the lineup against Chelsea, because that would have been one of the players that I would have dropped personally. But saying that, he's definitely proved his place. But yeah, I mean, like you say, Bielsa has this confidence in him. He's got the support of Bielsa, and Bielsa doesn't give his trust and his support to just any player. Like, there's got to be some potential he sees in Roberts to actually deserve that. And if he's proven it on the training pitch, then he's got to show it. And he showed it today, and he's definitely kept his place against Fulham in my eyes. Yeah,
definitely. Be stunned if he gets taken out. But what do you think to this, Mr. Wayman, in terms of the starting 11 against the best big six? I'd actually agree with that. Other than maybe Cox has come back in when he's fully fit, strictly when he's fully fit. I'd say that's pretty much the way to go about it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see which way he goes. I seen a comment earlier on. Someone said, "What do you think about Coquelin Laurentier next season and sending Pascal out on loan to Championship?"
No.
Yeah, Pascal's ready now, man. Pascal's fantastic, man. Yeah, I mean, look, Alioski's still that. He had a great game today, but we still need that left back, don't we? You know what I mean?
Louis' opinion's changed, hasn't it? I mean, he's saying he starts against the top six now.
Yeah, but I think once we have a better left back as well, just going forward, just everything. But when you mentioned about Tyler, about being, I think the thing is with Bielsa, he likes to play players into form. How many times have we seen people and as fans said he needs to be dropped? He needs a rest. He needs this. He needs that. And that's what he's probably been persisting with Click for. It's not worked. He's put him on the bench. He's come on and he was all right. Like, he didn't look as leggy as he has done from starting from games. I know he didn't play long, but But the Tyler thing, I didn't agree when you said a bit like a bit like Llorente. I don't think Llorente has ever been in question for me, but that's just my opinion. But I do think Tyler's grabbed it. And this, we've been saying game after game, it's his last chance, it's his last chance. I feel like this probably was, but he was fantastic. I agree with Phil, though, as well. Like, man of the match was a bit of... I was really shocked when it came on the screen.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch, maybe. But he played well, though, but his touch and that let him down still for me. There's still opportunities. It'd be interesting to see if Paddy's out, which way he goes. Does he go with Tyler? Does he bring Rodrigo? I agree with Phil as well. Like, it was definitely, a tactical change as opposed to an injury. I think Chris made a great point on the watch-along, And this is what I'll say, and I'll say it again, is that people who say that, we need a change for Bamford, we need someone else, look at the difference in forward play, managing to actually maintain the ball up the top end of the pitch when Bamford was off in comparison to when he wasn't. Yeah. We were under the cosh for a very, very long time and then it did change a little bit. But you can't tell me there was any situation where a ball went in Rodrigo and he trapped it and he had players, he had Rudiger on his back or anything like that. There was none of that. And that's why Bamford's so vital for us. But I don't know what the initial question was, but I've just gone on a ramble, but I hope that answered it.
Doctor, I'm hearing it's a dead leg for Paddy, so hopefully he's
right.
All right.
It did look like his hip, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where have you heard that from, Chris? I was going to say.
What is? Ketchup and
down. Right, anyway, but look at this. Just a quick question, though. I mean, Rodrigo a flop. I think that's harsh for me.
That's harsh.
You've got to consider the fact it's been stop-start for him. He came in like 2 weeks before the season started, hasn't had a proper pre-season to get into it. He's gone from Valencia, totally different style of football to ours. He's been in the national team a week before he started for us. He's been on the bench. He got COVID, got another injury. Too early to judge for me. That's all I'm going to say. I think he's been had a good season. Maybe not £30 million worth. I'm not going to say he's been £30 million worth of player on evidence regularly so far. But the quality's there.
Like Drogba, Thierry Henry, both of them had terrible first seasons.
You've gone for it there, though, mate. You've gone for it there. Drogba and Thierry Henry.
You know what I mean? They're both
I think he's been critical for us.
Yes, he is.
I think he's been critical for us in certain parts of the season. I mean, look, he scored some cracking goals. Like he scored that equaliser against Man City. He's just got that bullet header on him, hasn't he? And he scored against Newcastle. I can't call him a flop yet. No.
Next season's the time for me to judge him. I think this season, if you're sort of saying, I want to see a £30 million player, I want to see him scoring 15, 20 goals, you're just going to be disappointed when he's had no momentum.
Well, and also he's been in La Liga as well. He hasn't been in the Premier League. I mean, if you said that about a Premier League player, then fair enough. But not when he's been in a different league. It's like when people give Robin criticism. Like, he's played in the Bundesliga. Like, it's a completely different way of football. So I say you can't really judge them straight off the bat because they still need to get used to the Premier League.
I mean, just seeing this
season. Oh.
I mean, if you see what we've just done there, I mean, just move on. Just move on. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
There's more critical areas to spend our money than going and spending 20, 30 million on Ben White. And the only way Brighton are letting him come to us for even that kind of money is if they go down.
Yeah.
Let's have it right? If Ben White comes in, what changes today? Nothing. Nothing. And I'll tell you this, Llorente is better.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I
agree. He is.
He wouldn't start for this Leeds team. He wouldn't start.
No.
Sturrock's better. I'd honestly say it on my chest. Sturrock is a better player. Younger than Ben White, better player. Virgil van Sturrock. I mean, you know what I mean?
I was worried about Sturrock. Like at the start of the season when Cooper got injured and Sturrock came in, and he had such a bad game against Villa and got subbed off at 20 minutes. I was like, oh God, here we go again, kind of thing. But he's literally proved me wrong. Like, he's been amazing for us. And to say he's only, 21 years old, that's pretty impressive. The fact that he's going to get cut, like, he's got a choice now between Holland or Belgium national team. Like, he's already going to get a call up already, isn't there? There's talk about it. So to say he's 21 and that's getting talked about, you know, we've got an incredible player, you know, in our team. So he's only going to get better.
But the thing is, I mean, it's all right Dallas saying this, but for me, and I'd be quite confident about this, Struijk will play for Holland or Belgium before Ben White will play for England. I'll say that much. How many caps does Ben White have for England? He's up against Harry Maguire and Tyrone Mings. JD Rente's up against Sergio Ramos and some really good defenders. He's played more games for Spain. That's it in a nutshell for me. Robin Koch the same. Just forget about Ben White. Anyway, let's move on. Forget about him. Right, KP is someone we've got to talk about a little bit as well, because I thought just critical that second. How much work he had to get through. I mean, he's made some difference, hasn't he, Chris, since he's come in terms of the performances.
What a player Marcelo Bielsa has turned that lad into. What a footballer. I mean, we're doing comparisons. He's a better footballer than Declan Rice any day of the week, and should be marshalling that England back four on his own, not as two DMs. Should be Calvin Phillips in there. When he plays, there's a reason Llorente and Struijk look confident today and they can go for balls. And that's because KP's there. He's mixing it in. He's in and around the place. And there were a few times today at their corners, or they were pinging balls in. It was Calvin covering the back post. There was once where he lost his player early in the second half and Meslier made a save. But apart from that, just what a footballer he is. I know we get carried away. We tend to get carried away with Leeds-born players, but it's absolutely deserved with Calvin. Just what a footballer he is. Superb.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure how much Chelsea would be willing to sell Kante for, to be fair, but a bit ambitious that, to be fair, getting Kante at Leeds. But you never know. I know you meant something different, John, but I'm not going to go there. KP is Leeds. Don't worry about that. I mean, yeah, obviously Dallas came in. You know, we kind of predicted that in the, you know, in terms of the big match preview last night. We predicted Dallas would come into midfield. He didn't disappoint, did he? He didn't disappoint at all. I mean, Click came on, and it works, didn't it? It was a bold move, but it's. I mean, I never saw this. Christmas time, if you told me Stuart Dallas would be playing in midfield against N'Golo Kante and probably having the better of the battle against Jorginho, I'd have told you you're mad. But my words.
2 years ago, you wouldn't have thought he could play left back either. But
no, absolutely, he is.
Expand your horizons.
Is he our most important player? Is that or is that 100%. Too far to go now?
No,
he's our most versatile player. Yeah. He's the one that can play in any position. Like, they can all play numerous positions, but Dallas can play literally, other than up front on his own and in goal. I'd struggle to think of a position on the pitch that you wouldn't go, fuck it, Stewie will play there.
He's my player of the season so far. I think he's been absolutely tremendous.
Seriously, if I'm going to touch wood, right? If Meslier ever got injured, I wouldn't even put Casilla in there. I trust Dallas. Seriously, I would.
Just play flyers.
Yeah, literally, I'd put Dallas in there over Casilla. Seriously, I'd put him in goal. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely earned the title, Mr. Reliable. He's our utility man.
I wouldn't say he's our most important player. I think that falls on KP's shoulders for me. But he's our Jimmy Milner, as we say. I think he's great.
But on James Milner,
he's a close second to Bamford for player of the season for me.
If you were offered James Milner tomorrow, I don't think James Milner, and I love James Milner, don't get me wrong, I don't think him coming into this team would do any better than Dallas. And then that might be quite a hot take, but Milner at his age now, I know we all want to see him back, but I'm kind of...
I'd still take him, though. I'd still take him, man.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, no, definitely. But would he do much better in the starting 11 than what Dallas has done that kind of this season? I'm not sure. I think Dallas has got the years on him now.
I think so.
Really? What can James Milner do more than what Dallas did today? I love James Milner. Don't get me wrong, but
Won Champions Leagues, man, Premier Leagues.
yeah, but
Not on his own.
not on his own.
No, I do. Honestly, look, I love Dallas, but I love James Milner more.
Honestly, I don't know.
No,
I
you've probably got a point, mate. You've probably got a point. Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If we're offered James Milner in the summer and just to sit on the bench and come on for 20 minutes in games,
mate, get him coaching.
Yeah, put him. Yeah,
coaching, fine. Assistant manager or something. That's fine by me.
Assistant
player coach, whatever. Fine.
Get him in goal. If Mellier's out, I should have said Mellier. If Mellier's out, get him in goal. But anyway, was there anyone from Chelsea that impressed you? I thought Rudiger was pretty good in the air. That crucial header off Bamford, that was difficult to take. But
I think Pulisic caused us a few problems in that first half. I thought he was good.
They targeted Alioski at the start, though, didn't they?
Yeah. But I think we kept him relatively quiet. I thought Rudiger was good. Chilwell had a few opportunities as the game went on in terms of crossing the balls into the box. But I think, like you said earlier, Raf had him on toast most of the time in the first half. So maybe I was a bit harsh saying Rafinha has a poor game, but I just hold him to higher esteem. But Rudiger was good. That's it really, wasn't it? Mendy made a good save. But no one like Sean. I think, like saying, that's props to Leeds. I thought Ayling kept Mount relatively quiet, which is no mean feat. I mean, look, I didn't want to jinx it at the time, but when Werner and Hudson-Odoi came on, what the fuck did they do?
nothing.
They were gash. They were absolutely gash.
The best decision for us today is that Tuchel didn't send Giroud on.
Mate, I was about to say the exact same thing. We're laughing that they didn't put Giroud on.
No, absolutely. Yeah, he's looking at James coming on. I thought James was all right when he came on.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
You think him and Chilwell swinging balls into the box. Giroud's getting on the end of them against anyone, isn't he? So surprised. I thought
Hudson-Odoi was only sent on to try and get Alioski sent off.
Yeah,
I thought that was the point. And I kind of
get past him and get a foul, draw a foul in that lot.
And it didn't happen, thank God.
We were so sensible.
Did you see when he had a go at that? When he went, I don't know what he was doing, man. He's up his head, man. He's a crazy character. Good game today. Fair play to him, man. 2
good games. I thought.
Do you know what Valioski is? He gets a lot of pillock from a lot of fans, but he never hides. He never hides. Always there. And he'll always go at it, and he will make mistakes. But don't put him off. He'll go again. I think it's because he's slightly bonkers. I don't think he realises. He's just fucking nuts, and he just loves playing football.
Yeah, true.
Nah, totally. But let's talk a little bit about Rodrigo getting subbed. Or I don't know what. There's a really fancy word for that when you get subbed on and subbed off again. It's a really, I can't remember the phrase. It's a German phrase. So yeah, Scheiße. That's the word for it. Yeah. It's a fancy word, it's a fancy phrase. But anyway, he got subbed. Interesting. I mean, there's been little mentions in January about Atletico Madrid and that lot. I mean, do you think there might have been a few words between Rodrigo and Bielsa potentially, or do you think that's Bielsa's got control of that situation? He's going to keep Rodrigo focused, Chris?
I think. Sorry, go on.
No, go on, Joe. Go on, Wayman.
Go on.
I think if anyone wants to try and be unhappy with that, they just have to look at Pablo Hernandez and know that they need to toe the line. You know, they just have to look at Pontus Jansson, those that were there before. You won't suffer no fools, no matter who they are. And look, he did it to Calvin in the Championship against Swansea. We have to accept that fact. And I'm more, because it's Bielsa, I prefer it. I would rather have a coach that can see and say, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to switch it up, because a lot of coaches wouldn't do it. So fair play to Bielsa. And to be fair, I think Rodrigo did look shocked. I was surprised, but he didn't show any petulance. He'll be unhappy, of course, as any player would be. But you just got to accept it, mate. It is what it is. He might start on against Fulham because Paddy might be out. So he's got to be ready to go. Because if he isn't, Bielsa will just bomb him out. So
yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I think we all know, Tash and Reckner, that is Guinness. It's still Guinness, drinking Guinness through a straw. We all know what you're doing, Rihanna. We all know what you're doing. What's your take on Rodrigo? Do you think it was harsh? Do you think it was harsh him getting subbed?
What? So sorry, you talking to me?
Do you think it was? Do you think it was harsh on Rodrigo?
Sorry, I didn't even hear my name. Sorry, I was just upset.
It's the Guinness. It's the Guinness.
Oh my god! Yeah, to be fair, I wasn't expecting it when I saw replacements coming on. I thought it was going to be Alioski coming off, Dallas moving into left back when Click came on. But yeah, I didn't expect him to get subbed. But I don't know. He wasn't having his best game, but I didn't think he was completely, utterly bad. I know he was going missing, but he still got himself into good areas because we were in the final third and when taking corners and stuff. And then I don't know, but it's Bielsa, isn't it? He decides at the end of the day, and but it worked out. I feel. Click actually did well. You know, he got himself on the end of some good balls, and it's just a shame we didn't bring it home. I mean, Costa and Click worked well together. That was another one I was a bit surprised at. I mean, because I didn't expect Jack Harrison to come off because I thought he did really well. They impressed me, the subs. They did make the impact that of course we wanted them to. And I wasn't disappointed at all with any of their performances at all.
Absolutely. I mean, for me though, if Rodrigo is seriously, if he does, I mean, we're probably reading too much into it. He didn't look happy when he came off, but if he's seriously moaning about coming off, I didn't think Rodrigo was good at all. And at the end of the day, you know, I think Bielsa was in his right to make this, because if he took Roberts off, the only other person he could have took off was probably Roberts in terms of making the change he wanted to make. He couldn't take Roberts off. He just had to go with Rodrigo. And if Rodrigo doesn't get that, then I'm sorry, Spain's number 9 or not Spain's number 9, you just got to accept it for me. I mean, would you agree with that, Chris?
Yeah, do you know what? And there's a couple of extenuating circumstances here why he might have been pulled as well. Because I agree with Rhiannon. He wasn't at his best, but he did. There was the cushioned header where he set up Rafinha for that chance. There was his own header, which, to be fair, he probably could have done better with rather than knocking it straight into Mendy. But Bamford went off injured. Rodrigo also collected a yellow card, and he isn't the best tackler. He was very much in danger of throwing a stupid leg in and getting a second yellow. And maybe Bielsa's thinking, maybe Paddy's not right for Fulham, and we don't want to risk not having Rodrigo as well. So you don't know what the thought process is. If I'm a player, I'm having a little bit of a hissy fit if I'm being subbed on and then dragged back off. But he's got to react well, and then everyone forgets about it, and he potentially plays against Fulham, maybe bags, and it's all forgotten. So I'm not getting carried away that he's a flop yet. He's been in and out, injury and all the rest of it. I think you got it earlier, Oscar. I think next season's the big season for Rodrigo, and we want to see him step up next season. But I'm not going to get too excited about it all.
I'll tell you what, Chris, if you threw a hissy fit with me, you're going straight in that gym. You're not starting the next game, honestly. If you're any hissy fit, any kind of petulance, but I agree. Look, Harrison, we're seeing people like Harrison, in that first season, it didn't quite go so well for him because he didn't start week in, week out. He was still getting used to the system. And then after that, last season, this season, he stepped up, and I think Rodrigo's far better technically, isn't he, than Jack Harrison, if we're being honest. Certainly in terms of calibre. And I just think Rodrigo massively steps it up next season. And be interesting to see where he plays, because if we get Rodrigo to Paul, you'll probably see Rodrigo play centre forward a little bit more often and be in direct competition with Bamford. Because I think with Rodrigo, I'm not sure if you'll agree with this, Phil. I looked at him and I thought, when we signed him, I thought that's definitely going to be him playing in the number 9 role, direct competition for Bamford, almost like trying to bring in competition for Bamford that John Kevin Augustin, remember him? And Nadia Nketiah never really gave him. And I just think that's what Rodrigo was brought in for. And then, of course, Bamford starts with 4-4, and then the plan changes. Rodrigo, there's no chance you can drop Bamford. You've got to play Rodrigo deeper. I mean, do you have that feeling that we've just been trying to improvise a little bit of Rodrigo in terms of game time?
I do think I thought at the time he was brought in as a number 9, but then obviously as the season's gone on, I've drifted away from that sort of idea, and I don't think he was brought in as a number 9 at all. I think Tyler Roberts is far closer to playing up front for Leeds United than Rodrigo is. I think he's considered that weird some 8.75, something between.
Oh, don't start with that. We're not even on player ratings yet, and you start with that.
Well, he's considered somewhere between an 8 and a 10, basically. And he's an attacking midfielder. Even FIFA have changed him from striker to CAM now, aren't they? So I don't know, mate. I don't think he's brought in as a striker. I thought today, when he was on the pitch, there was a comment a little bit earlier that was saying about Tyler Roberts sort of playing both positions on Rodrigo's behalf, and I would agree with that. I do think there was a lot of walking and the pressing wasn't there from Rodrigo, whereas it was from Tyler, which is why I think he was bought off. I don't think that automatically means that he's a flop. I don't think it means he's a waste of 30 million quid. I don't think it means that if anyone comes in and offers us the same money in the summer, we sell him. I think it's a case of getting to grips with the Premier League isn't easy for someone that's not played in it before. And I think to get to grips with Bielsa in the Premier League as well is also difficult. So I would say just give him time.
Alfie's had your eyes out
Alfie.
there, Oscar.
Alfie. and that off just ending this broadcast now, to be fair. You started on me before. Who was it you started on before? It's Alioski you started on. Whoever it was before. Now you're calling me Colin. We're in London, aren't we? We're in London, aren't we? Get out.
As well.
I just sit back and laugh.
Oscar, can I very quickly just upset Vic Vinegar in the chat who said, I wish we'd stop talking about Rodrigo de Paul? And can I just say, let's wet everyone's whistles and imagine Rodrigo de Paul in that team today as that extra bit of flair.
Exactly.
He's a right player, isn't he? He's a right player. He does a great job. Not as good as Tongi, but he's a great player.
Yeah, there was someone on that transfer video as well that Phil and Oscar did, which should be back on Sunday. And someone else said, "You need to let it go. We're not signing him." And I just said, "Just remember this comment, because I fully expect us to do that. I do. I think it's a done deal, personally."
I think it's a done deal.
This is it, though.
January somewhere else.
The thing is, I'm in two minds with this rumor, because in the summer, because in the summer, all the players we went after, we were never linked with officially, were we? Like, there was no rumors about them, so I don't know.
Yeah, but we were linked with. We were linked with.
Because it's going on for so long. I don't know if we're going to get him. I'm not 100% set on it, but I just want to see.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you a lot of the time, Rhiannon. I disagree with you on that. He is the perfect.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I would love to have him, but I'm just saving my excitement over it until he's holding that shirt and he's officially signed it.
I'll tell you what, Rhiannon, if he does come, then Rafinha's in danger of losing his favourite player title of mine.
Oh.
Can you imagine, though, like, the ball, with him there, the ball progression, man.
Yeah.
It's just fucking exceptional, isn't it? Just running it. You think about when Tyler gets the ball, man. Just think that's Rodrigo de Paul running at that back four, man. It's just going to be scintillating stuff, man.
I know.
I think Rhiannon wants a bit of our transfer show, Oscar. Let her in. Bring her in.
No, absolutely. You're more than welcome to join us for our nerdy spreadsheet, the nerdiest show on YouTube. But you're more than welcome to join us.
Get involved.
But I mean, it's basically what we're saying here off Robert Swift. He's going to find his place next season. Rodrigo de Paul behind him, possibly, or in front of him, wherever. It's all good. Even if we don't get Rodrigo de Paul, whoever we're going to get in the summer, Victor Orta is good at his job. Yeah. He is good at his job. He gets the odd one wrong. You know, Kiko Casilla this or Gustan this. He's going to get the odd person wrong. But in general, Victor Orta, Meslier 5 million, Cock 13 million, Rafinha 16 and whatever it is. Juventus starting to look good value at his price, to be fair, if he keeps playing like that.
Bamford's looking good value.
Bamford, 7 mil. 7 mil Bamford
Can I
was.
interject for one quick second? I don't want Kiko Casilla to go down as a bad point on Victor Orta's record. Kiko did that to himself, mate.
Yeah, no.
That's not Victor Orta's
No,
fault.
but just on his goalkeeping ability though as well.
Performances. Derby, I'm thinking Derby in the playoff semi-finals and
right.
that lot. I'm thinking, mind you, we did have Bailey Peacock-Farrell.
Yeah, we didn't have much better at the time, though, did we?
No.
So
But
it was
fine.
actually an improvement. Not much, but it was kind
But that's what Orta does, though. He spotted that problem with the goalkeepers. He spotted the potentially Meslier.
I mean, you don't have to pay me to spot that BPF was shite. I tell you that much.
Orta didn't bring him in, though. It was.
I used to say it. I remember saying it week after week post-match, and people say, "Don't know what you're talking about. Great goalkeeper. He'll go to the top."
What about his clean sheet record? I remember was the point that was made. And I'm thinking,
rubbish.
Awful.
He used to dive out of the way of the balls, man.
He still does, mate.
Yeah, he's shocking. Did you see him when he made his debut against City? Oh my God!
Hey, you watched him for Northern Ireland this season. He's the reason they're not going to the Euros.
Yeah, he's shocking, isn't he?
It's shocking.
Biscuit wrists.
but look, we know Orta's going to make the signings. Even if he doesn't get to Paul, he's going to. Last season he spoke about the cream of the championship, and then he kind of looked at the European market and thought, "Ooh, there's some decent players here." He spotted Rodrigo. He started. I was a bit of a weird, kind of thing, but he spotted him. It was one of them. He spotted the potential, and I think he does the same again in the summer. I think we bolster that squad further, and that's what it's all about. We talk about this Leicester model. People are panicking about Rafinha. We've seen the last couple of games. Rafinha's not played particularly well, and we've still done okay performance-wise. We've still done okay. We've still got enough talent in that team, and that's all you can ask for, really. But just want to talk about Meslier, actually, because he made some cracking saves, didn't he? In that sort of 20-minute spell when Chelsea were really getting on top. I mean, that one off Havertz, top save, that wasn't it? I mean, how good has he been this season, Chris? Has he been one of the best keepers in the league for you?
Yeah, I think so. Do you know the best thing I saw from Meslier today was when he came out and claimed the ball against Rudiger, stuck his side and his back and pushed him, knocked Rudiger on the floor, took the ball clean, doing it out. But we know he's a great shot stopper. We only have to go back to Sheffield United to a couple of saves in that game. The kid's 21 now, sorry. I mean, he's a future French international. Let's not beat around the bush here. 5 million quid. 5 million quid. He's a better.
Does he go to the Euros?
For me,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's done better than Hugo Lloris this season, hasn't he? He's the actual French number one. So yeah, just imagine if France actually played him instead of Hugo Lloris.
You got no chance of that, I don't think.
I know, but just based off their performance in the actual Premier League, I mean, he's got 9 clean sheets now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
But he's never played for even the under-21s for France, so I can't see him getting into the seniors.
No. I know.
Don't be negative now. Don't be negative. He's going to be in that 3. He's going to be in that 3.
It'll be nice to think he's in that 3. Yeah, it'll be nice to think.
He will be very shortly.
at the end of the day, he's 21, and I'm sure he's being looked at, which is at 21 years old as a Premier League goalkeeper. You can't ask much more, can you?
No.
Definitely.
I mean, let's not forget as well, keepers peak at around 30. Do you know what I mean?
So
he's just going to... Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah, mad.
Okay. Anything else to kind of add, guys? Anything else that stood out? I thought Jack Harrison was much better today in terms of that defensive work. He was so disciplined today, wasn't he?
Jack's energy levels were back today. Charging down Mendy, and Mendy ended up putting it out of play in the first half. I'm a big fan of Jack. He's not been 10 out of 10 Jack for a few games, but he's getting back there now.
Yeah,
good one.
Absolutely.
Good to see.
Surprised to see him come off though. So I think I thought Costa did well when he came on, to be fair, but it's a lovely skill, wasn't it? I thought Ben Chilwell, I saw a couple of people say he had a good game. I thought he had an absolute nightmare, to be honest, defensively.
Thought we had him, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was involved a lot. I suppose, yeah, he was involved a lot, but I think Rafinha had him on toast for a large period, and then in the, he probably should do better with his effort just before Harrison comes off. But I thought he was okay. But I don't know what I'm saying now. But I was talking about Chilwell, Werner. They were all shit. We should have won 3-0.
Awful.
Yeah. I've got a few points I'd like to make. First point, in response to a lot of things that have been said, and I sent it to you about half an hour ago, Oscar, on WhatsApp while everyone was talking. I went on Infogol, and Rafinha is actually our man of the match according to them, which is, I don't agree, but I also think it counteracts everyone saying that he's been shit. I think he had moments, like there was one where he flicked it over Chilwell's head and completely had his pants down. Like he hasn't completely absent. He's just, I think he's far more prominent on the right than he is on the left, and I prefer to see Jack Harrison start on the left. And I think with two of the substitutions today, I thought everything we said about Mateus Klick last night, we have been proven right in that he came on for the last 10, 15 minutes and he looked energetic again. Yeah. That legginess was gone.
Those Klick's passes over the top that he played once or twice. Lovely.
Much improved. And I think I like to see Jackie start and Helder Costa come on. And I think we were proved right in that as well, because I think Helder Costa, when he came on, was absolutely brilliant again. I thought those two of the subs, fantastic. And obviously Rodrigo's his own case in the subs case, but those two subs, fantastic. And Rafinha, I think we might be expecting a hell of a lot from him. So maybe that's why we're being harsh. But he wasn't bad.
Let me respond to the Rafinha stuff. I mean, Infogol's telling you he wasn't man of the match. I don't care what anyone says. So it's flawed. But I do think his levels have dropped, and yes, I do hold him up to high esteem. And I'm not saying he's shite. I just think his levels have dropped. There was a number of times in the second half where his touch let him down, or it was just behind him, a bit like Tyler, and I'm not used to seeing that. But I agree with you. In the first half, there was one. But even then, though, when he flipped it over Chilwell's head, he got round the other side of him and lost the ball. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Whereas if that moves off, if you look at him against Palace when he did what he did to Cahill, if that move comes off, you're like, fuck, he's on fire. And maybe on another day that does come off. There was one where I think Roberts was offside, but he actually wasn't on reflection. They pulled the flag up, but Rafinha got played in and his touch let him down and it went heavy. So I do think but you're right. It's because he's been so good that we're expecting that all the time. And I think even the players on the pitch expect it, because we've seen they keep giving him the fecking ball sometimes when they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Llorente Ramos has got some nicknames coming in. Pascal Van Dijk is still not as good as Virgil van Strauch, to be fair. It's still not as good. I mean, trying to think what else I was going to say, actually. Was there anything else I was going to sort of touch on? I mean, general early thoughts on Fulham then. If we play like that against Fulham, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll create more against them.
Bye, London curse.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
There's a chance.
Right.
I think we've got a chance now.
Got to end there. I don't care if they're on the up. We need to win that game.
Fulham have got to come out and play us. They're still scrapping for survival. And Fulham coming out and having to play against us and go at us just suits us. And if we're on that kind of form we're on today, we'll tear them a new one, if I'm honest.
We need to finish.
Yeah.
That's not even something we need to say out loud. As long as we finish our chances, but we will create a hell of a lot of them against them.
Yeah. I think so. I think Fulham will be more difficult than what they were at the start of the season, but I think we're a better team than what we were. That was our second game, wasn't it, Fulham? Yeah. We're a better team now. I don't think because we went 4-1 up in that game. I remember we were saying, we're going to win this 6, we're going to win this 7. Yeah. And then we gave them 2 goals and it got really nervy. I feel we manage games a lot better now, than I think today, case in point today and other games in the season, Southampton, etc., where we just take control. I think, again, it's an interesting. I mean, I'll just stop with the nicknames, guys. They're not, you can't do the surname of both players. Like Klick Iniesta, it doesn't work. Matthias Iniesta, maybe.
I enjoyed whoever put Llorente Bauer.
That's good. That's good. To be fair, the mashups are okay, but do better, guys. Do better. Step up. Step up. That's not good enough. Not good enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anything else to add, guys?
Not from me, mate.
For a 0-0 game, we are coming up to we've just done an hour there. For a 0-0 game, that's pretty good, but it was a good 0-0.
Got a point against Chelsea. We should be happy.
Exactly.
Good result.
Audrey Roberts. Oh, dearie me.
Who said that? Steve. I'm looking at the future stuff that I'm on. Audrey Roberts. I'm all over Audrey Roberts.
Oh, dearie me. I guess we'll leave it there then, guys. We'll be back in just over an hour at 5 o'clock with the player ratings show, as always. Phil has promised us he's not going to do any half marks because he's on the yellow card before he's even started the video. Second yellow, mate.
I didn't know that. I need to go back through my ratings now.
No half marks. No half marks. That's
not
the
even
rule.
one.
No, absolutely not.
What if it's a deserved half mark?
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing as half marks.
Let's send it there, bro. Let's send it there.
Let's send it there. Well, join us at 5 o'clock, guys. Make sure you get your likes on the Twitter poll. We'll put that out in a second. Not your likes, sorry. Get your votes in on the Twitter poll. Get your votes in. We'll accumulate them all. It's not that we think Twitter's got a better opinion than YouTube or anything like that. It's just an easier way of doing, and it certainly hasn't, by the way. YouTube all the way. YouTube all the way on that. It's just the easiest way of doing the poll. So, guys, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to play that tune. Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Check out all of our content. And check out Mr. Wayman's new channel as well.
Yeah,
JJ.
JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later, guys.